Tomorrow marks the one-year anniversary of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, reversing a woman's right to an abortion, a constitutional right that was the law of the land for nearly half a century. As a result of that decision, the landscape of abortion access has shifted dramatically across the country, with each state now deciding if and when a woman has access to abortion care.
It is a powerful political issue that is dividing Democrats and Republicans, but more importantly, a decision that is costing women their lives. John Fenoglio joins us live from the KTLA News Center with a look at the consequences of the ruling. John.
Sure, Micah. While anti-abortion activists celebrate the overturning of Roe v. Wade and are motivated to push for more state abortion bans, the medical community sees it differently. A majority of OB/GYNs say the overturning of Roe is linked to an increase in maternal deaths in the U.S. and worsened racial and ethnic inequities. And polling shows a majority of Americans oppose overturning the landmark 1973 ruling protecting abortion rights.
It's been 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned the nationwide right to abortion. And with a presidential election on the horizon, the battle is again heating up. Speaking before a meeting of prominent evangelical Christian Republicans, former Vice President Mike Pence challenging his 2024 rivals to support more abortion restrictions.
Every Republican candidate for president should support a ban on abortion before 15 weeks as a minimum nationwide standard.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doubling down, defending his state's new law that bans abortion at 6 weeks before some women know they're pregnant.
And that means signing the heartbeat bill into law that protects unborn children.
Following the High Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in June of 2022, a surge of so-called trigger laws took effect in conservative states banning or restricting abortion, laws that had been written long before the court's ruling.
Thank God Almighty for the Dobbs decision.
Today, 20 states now ban or restrict abortion, and at least 6 others have bans that are pending or are being disputed in court. The result is a patchwork of laws across the nation. Republican-led states want to ban or further restrict abortion, and Democratic-led states want to expand it. For the GOP, it's an issue that plays well with primary voters, but not necessarily the general public. According to a recent NBC News poll, 61% of American voters oppose the court's ruling, compared to just 36% who approve of it. And among female voters ages 18 to 49, 77% say they disapprove of the SCOTUS decision.
MAGA Republicans have made clear that they don't intend to stop.
Democrats wasting no time tapping into the national outrage. In the year since Roe was rescinded, President Biden has signed 3 executive orders defending reproductive rights, including one today. The new order strengthens access to birth control pills through the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, and Medicaid services. It also aims to ensure access to reproductive health care for veterans, service members, and their families.
But the only sure way to protect a woman's health and rights is for Congress to pass a law. And I believe Congress should restore the protections of Roe v. Wade once and for all. But we need
20 Democratic states have protected access to abortions, including California, which enshrined abortion rights into law last fall. California also has vowed to support and protect women needing reproductive care and who face potential prosecution from anti-abortion states. Micah, back to you.
John, thank you.